Hello, welcome to another video. We are going to create a time trial racing game. A very small one where you can manipulate it and develop it yourselves, and I'm going to show you the very basics. Okay, so initially I have downloaded a 3D model, if I can find it in my downloads. There we go. It's called Cartoonish GoKart. So what I'm going to do is find the source, grab that OBJ, and as you can see, it's there. Lovely. So I'm going to drag him in there. He'll load into Unity, and I'm also going to grab his textures as well. Cool. So if you're wondering where I got my 3D go-kart, well, you can download it here on Sketchfab. So I think go-kart, something like that. And there we go. And if we type in downloadable, there it is, it's right there. So you can find this and thank the author as well. Let's thank the author right now. Captain Cavernous, cool, thank you my friend, for your lovely 3D model of the go-kart. So don't say I don't thank anybody. So what I'm going to do is drag this into my scene. Let's make sure let's zero it out just to make sure it's a lot easier. And double click on it so we can find it. No, come on, what's going on? There we go, fantastic. So what we're going to do first is we've got a bunch of textures in here, but we've got no material created for our character because it's locked. So what we can do is if we click on him, go to materials, let's go to legacy, go to apply, and then that will create a materials folder for us, and then we can open this materials, and there is our material. So if we look at the moment, the material in our oh no, it's lit up now because we've got this material. So we can even add this material onto him if we want, and then from here we can go into our textures and add our albedo, which is our main color. We can go into our normal map and add to normal map. We can add our specular, which is our height map, and our ambient occlusion, which is our occlusion. Cool, lovely, and we can fiddle with those or whatever we want to do, or make it more metallic or lovely or smooth. Or cool, lovely. So I'm happy with that. I haven't got my auto generate lighting on because that just makes life 10 times harder. So there we go. There is our very simple go-kart with his materials on. So next thing we're going to do is we're just going to create a very basic track. You can make an amazing track. I expect an amazing track from you. So let's go 0, 0, 0 again. Zero this off, and then I'm just going to lift my go-kart above it. And with that, I'm going to grab my rect tool so we can really stretch this out. We can flatten it a bit. So this is going to be like my road. That's my canvas for now, so I can move my go-kart around a bit. Lovely, this is looking good. I might just stretch that out. Stretch that out and stretch that out. Lovely, fantabidoozy. Okay, so it doesn't look the same. I'm going to add some other cubes in, and then from there we can just grab the rect tool and pull these up a little bit. And then I'm just going to duplicate these. Cool, lovely. So these got colliders on them, so we can make sure we can drive around them and hit these. Cool, so what we need to add to our go-kart now, so make sure you're actually on the go-kart. We're going to add a box collider around him, and we're also going to add a rigid body. Lovely, fantastic. Cool, so let's just have a quick look at this box collider. Let's reduce this down. So if we go on here, go to edit collider, and we can create this box collider. It's not too bad actually. Might just push a little bit forward, push that a little bit forward. Yeah, that's okay. That's not too offensive at all. Lovely, so there we go, we've got a box collider there, and that's all nice and edited. So once we've done that, and we've got our obstacles that we can drive around as a test, let's create a folder. let's call this scripts. Double click, and we're going to create a brand new C# script, and we're going to just call this player. So we call it player controller. Let's be traditional, and we're going to open up Visual Studio. Lovely, so that's our player controller open. What we're going to do is we need two things from here. We need to do this as create a private float. Come on, private float. First one's going to be speed, and that can equal 10. And then we can say private float rotate, and we're going to do our rotation of 100. Lovely. Start method, we don't need anything in there. We're not going to grab our rigid body or anything. We just want to be able to control that. So from there, we're going to go float move, because we need to give our vertical axis a name. So this will be input dot get axis, and we'll just state the vertical. For our forward movement, lovely, then we can say float rotation for our rotation, which will be a horizontal input. So again, input.get axis. Make sure you spell it correctly, horizontal. Then we just need to make sure move is times by equals by time.delta time. So is our rotation, not rotate, don't want to make that error. And then again, times by equals time.delta time. Lovely. So last thing we need to say is we want our transform.translate. So we want this to move, transform, dearie me. Transform.translate is going to move on our z-axis, so we don't need to worry about our x or y, but we do need to worry about our z, so we'll write move in there. And then we can say transform.rotate, and this will move on our y-axis, so 0, and then rotation will work on here, 0, semicolon. Lovely, that looks all good. Let's command save that. Go back into Unity, make sure Unity likes it as well. Assigned value but is never used. Oh, I'm not worried about that. Let's crack this into our GoKart at the top. So we'll crack that into player. Rotation. Oh, we haven't put our variables in, so this isn't right yet. So what we need to do is just say this needs to be times by speed. Unity is always correct, and then we need to say this is times by our rotate, creating values that we're never using. Thank you, Unity, for reminding me. There we go. So there we've got our speed should be affected. Lovely. I made those private so they won't appear in our inspector. Lovely, let's quickly press play and see if we have movement in our car. There we go, so we rotate like that, and then we can move like this. Fantastic. So we've got our car moving. If you want to change those, obviously you can change those. That's absolutely fine and dandy. Cool. Awesome. So if you want to make this like an actual racing game, let's position this. Let's position the camera. I'm just going to click on main camera and put it behind the go-kart itself. So as a parent, objects, align with view, and then it'll stick. So if I press play, lovely. So I've got this nice view. Oh, and I've fallen off straight away. Good start. So let's just press play again. Cool. So then I can steer. There you go, very, very basic controller, but hey, making a very nice, easy basic game. Cool. Fantastic. So once we've done that, we have got to look at the time trial side of it. So what I'm going to do is that we're going to grab some UI text. So we're going to right click and go to UI text, and this will create this. Hopefully it's going to put it in the main camera. Oh no, it hasn't. There we go. Lovely. So we've got our canvas and our event system that comes along with all that, and we can see that we've got our text in the bottom right hand corner. So I want mine in the top left hand corner. So this is going to be my timer text. So I'm going to click that into the top left hand corner, and then I'm going to put that down a bit so we can see what's happening. Let's go into 2D mode so I can see what's happening with my canvas. Whoa, there it is. Big old canvas. Cool, lovely. So if we zoom out, we've got our canvas there. So, and I'm just going to move this up into that top left hand corner. I'm going to make my rect tool, I'm going to make that a bit bigger so I can then have a bigger font size. Lovely. I'm going to say 30 just in case. There we go. Fantastic. Cool. So, and in text, I'm going to call this timer. And then we can call this timer text. Lovely. So this will create our timer as soon as whatever we put our script on. So now we've done that, we can create another script. So let's go create C# script and call this, let's just call it timer. Let's not fight with it. And for now, we're just going to open this script and cool, lovely. So once we've got that, we need to make sure, we need to say we're using Unity engine. I can spell, no, it's not .engine, is it? Unity engine .ui semicolon. Cool, lovely. So we need two variables. So we need a public text, which we are going to call timer or time counter even, so we know definitely what that is. Or actually I'm going to write, because it's text, I'm going to write timer text. That might make things way easier because that's what I've named it already before. So timer text. And then we're going to create a static for the timer itself. So that's going to be a float and that's going to be called timer. Cool, lovely. So in our update, so not start, we'll need start in a minute. We are going to say timer is plus equals to time.delta time. So we're in real time. It's always a good start. We're then going to say integer of minutes. Lovely. And this is going to be controlled by maths F. For to integer. And we're going to say timer is by 60 because there is 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour. We're then going to do our int seconds. So integer of seconds. We're then going to say maths F again. So it's very, very similar. Floor to integer. And then we are going to say our timer is minus to our minutes. So how many minutes are there? Well, what makes a minute? 60 seconds. So essentially we are creating time. Unity doesn't have a concept of time, apart from like real time, so which we can then duplicate or manipulate even, there's a better word for it, with speed. So here we're actually creating the existence of time in Unity. So with that we need to create a string so it follows along. We can just call this let's call it time. We haven't called anything else time, have we? That's fine. And then which will equals our string again. Dot formats, because we need to put it in the right format. So we need to say here is 0, 0. Make sure you remember the curly brackets. And then we can say 1 minute. Cool, so this is how we want it to be formatted. There we go, fantastic. And then we can say minutes, also seconds. So what order they're going to go in, what will be minutes first, then it will be seconds, semicolon. Lovely, then we need to just say our timer, not time counter, our timer text. What is that going to display? Well, it's going to display exactly what we've asked it to. So timer text is going to display the time. There we go, semicolon. So for now, let's save this. Let's check if this works. Let's grab this timer and put it onto, what did I create as our floor? That initial cube. So I'm going to drag this onto here, and I'm just going to call this floor so I know what it is. So hopefully when we press play, we should have a timer pop up. No, because we haven't allocated the text. There we go. So if we click on floor and we look at our timer script, we can see it's asking for the timer text. There it is, timer text. Let's add that in. Let's press play. Lovely, fantastic. So we can drive around with a timer. Fantastic. But at the moment, that's just going off when it likes. So we need to make sure we can create almost like a time trial part of this game. So we need to have some more text displaying the time, or the lap time, and we also need a trigger to, when we cross the finish line, it will start the timer over again. That's just a nice little feature. So what we need to do is then add another text object first. So we want our lap time here, so let's just right click UI, and if we click text again, it should just pop into there. And what we're going to change this to lap text. That's absolutely fine. Again, I'm going to move this to the top right hand corner. I'm going to make my rectangle a little bit bigger. Cool. I'm going to make my text 30. That looks good. And then I'm just going to call this lap and move a space. Lovely. So that looks good. Let's just quickly test this, make sure. Oh, I haven't locked it, so it's probably going to jump around. So let's just make sure we lock that constraint in the top right hand corner. Lovely. Press play. Cool, right, let's try and implement our lap text. Cool, so if we go back into our, no, not yet. Let's not do that yet because we haven't even got the finish line. So let's create a finish line in our game. So let's come out of this. Let's double click on our floor so we know where we're going. Lovely, so let's quickly grab that rectangle. I'm just going to stretch this out a bit just to create a finish line. Cool, so we're going to add a new 3D cube. I'm going to drag this all the way over there. Drag it there. And then can grab the scale tool and scale this up. There we go. Cool, so you can't miss it. It's a fairly big trigger. Cool. So I'm going to call this finish line. Lovely. With that, we can make sure we've checked is trigger and we've unchecked the mesh renderer. So we've just got the collider itself. Cool. Lovely. So once we've done that, we're going to double click on timer. And now we're back into timer. We are going to manage our, we can then create a reset as well, just in case we drive off the edge or something. So let's do scene management. Cool. And then we can add two more lovely variables. Let's create a public text, which would be our lap text. There we go. And then we're going to create a game object, which is going to be our... Actually, no, we're not going to worry about that. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not going to put that in. Pointless. I tells you, pointless. Okay, so let's go to... Let's create a new void. That'll be public void. Let's create as a public void. Public void. So I'm going to create a new method called restart game. So this is just if we drive off and we don't know what we're doing. So restart game, and we are going to say scene manager dot load scene. And what do we call it? Our scene is probably just called sample scene. So really we need to save this scene. So yeah, before we do that, let's just for now let's try sample scene. Let's just try that. I'm sure it'll be fine. Actually name your scene something. Don't do what I do. That's just, it's not good practice. So if once we've done that, we need to say if input dot get key down. Where are you? Get key down. There you are. And then we can say who uses the 9 key. Nobody. So let's just say 9. We then can say restart game. There it is. Lovely. So that should do that. Restart game should resample our scene and load our scene. If you press 9, then we need to sort out that trigger. That's what we need to do. That's what I meant to be doing. So let's do void on trigger enter collider other. That's absolutely fine. Let's say what's this called? Lap text. There we go. Lap text dot text is going to display lap space or just space plus the what do we call it? Timer text. Oh, timer text dot text, and our timer will reset back to 0.0f. Lovely. Let's give this a try. Lovely, lovely, lovely. You can rewatch this if it doesn't work. Doesn't matter. Cool. So what we're going to do is remove the... So if we go into our floor, remove that timer script, go onto our finish line and add that timer script. So if you type in timer, and then it's asking for timer text again, but it's not asking for the other text, which is worrying. So let's put timer text in there. Let's see where we've gone wrong here. So lap text dot text. Yeah, I see. Cool. So we've made sure that timer text dot text is the same. So that will appear with our lap time. So then it asks for lap text, and we can drag lap text in there. And so that's all on the finish line. So hopefully when we press play, 0, there we go. So it's counting our time. So let's drive into that trigger. Pow, there we go. And it's even recorded our time. So there we go. That's how you create a really dodgy but working time trial game in Unity.